If there's one JRPG that understands the importance of fashion and costume design, it's Final Fantasy. For over 35 years, Final Fantasy's costume design has revolutionized the way JRPG characters dress, almost single-handedly making eclectic, pointy, and belt-heavy fashion the industry standard across the globe, and one of the genre's most defining characteristics. But fashion is also at the forefront of their storytelling, because when we look closer at the way these characters dress, we get a deeper understanding of their personalities, their stories, and sometimes their futures. Today, we're going to take a look at the fashion of Final Fantasy VIII, because when it comes to style, who better to start with than the best-looking guy in the room? The first thing to notice about Squall's regular outfit is the colour, or the lack thereof. Protagonists in Final Fantasy wearing black isn't unusual, but unlike Cloud in Midgar or Noctis in Insomnia, Squall's black ensemble doesn't fit that well within the world of Final Fantasy VIII. The backgrounds and environments of VIII's early game are bright and colourful, and Squall's absence of colour sticks out. The Final Fantasy protagonists that are usually dressed in black are the characters that have a bit of an edge. They're brooding, they're quiet, they're mysterious, and they're often loners. We see a bit of Tetsuya Nomura's personal style creeping in here too, because Nomura himself is a big fan of styling black clothing. Squall's predominantly black colour scheme is also interesting when you compare it to the rest of the party, because each character has their own signature colour, almost all of which are very bright primary colours. When we compare Squall's design to Cypher, we can also see that they have opposing designs, indicating the sense of rivalry between them. Cypher wears a striking white military topcoat because he wants to stand out and be noticed, but he also wants to show his dominance, whereas Squall wears much more casual, cropped clothes and uses that darker black colour to blend in with the rest of his peers. Cypher considers himself to be above the rest of his peers, whereas Squall considers himself to be no better than the rest of them. One key signature detail on Squall's outfit is the white fur collar on his jacket. This fur collar is reminiscent of the mane of a lion, which picks up on the lion imagery associated with Squall throughout the game, with his necklace, his ring, and of course his surname, Leonhardt. To quote video game journalist Talisa Blackman, it also invokes the image of a cat with its hackles up. We can see throughout the rest of his style that Squall uses his clothing as a protective device. I've already mentioned that the colour black is used as an attempt to avoid standing out, but the thick collar at the neck acts as a physical barrier to anyone thinking of getting close enough to such a vulnerable area. He also wears two belts around his waist, positioned in an X shape, with full-length, long trousers that cover up even his boots underneath, and a long-sleeve jacket that covers his arms all the way down to his wrists. Everything about him is screaming, "Stay away." And yet, his jacket is wide open. There's this literal soft white underbelly underneath that protective layer with the white shirt. Despite all of Squall's effort to build this off-putting ensemble to keep people away, it is largely ineffective because his inner vulnerability and goodness is so obvious that people can see through it as the disguise that it is. Another thing to notice about Squall's outfit is how little it resembles the one that he wears as a child. I mentioned this in my previous video about Cypher. Cypher wears the same blue undershirt that he wore as a boy, mirroring the fact that Cypher has carried this childhood ambition of being the sorceress's knight into adulthood with him. But Squall has completely abandoned the desires and hopes that he had as a child, so we see no aspect of that in the clothes that he wears as a teenager. He's very embarrassed that he once longed for love and acceptance, and developed this protective shell after Eleni's absence. The younger Squall wears much brighter colours, showing that he has a much more optimistic and childish view of things. He's not afraid to be seen, unlike the older version of himself. The word formal pretty much sums up Quistis' style, whether she's in or out of uniform. Thin glasses, high cheekbones, and her hair pulled tight back and up in a high, sleek style. She's the youngest ever instructor in the garden at 19 years old, in charge of students who are often her peers. She's had to occupy this adult role despite still being a very young woman. When Quistis wears her instructor uniform, it looks a lot more natural on her than it does on other characters, and it's always kept immaculate and pristine. Other characters like Squall and Zell often look quite uncomfortable or restricted in the official military outfits of Seed, what with the tight, thick cinched belt along the waist and the silver gold chain at the shoulders, quite literally chaining them into this uniform. Squall and Zell look somewhat uncomfortable and restricted. And it's not a coincidence that Squall is wearing this outfit at the one time where he feels the most uncomfortable and awkward, at the Seed Ball. However, Quistis looks much more natural and at home in these more restrictive military outfits, and is dressed a lot more conservatively than the other female party members. Quistis, in her casual outfit, is still quite formal. Her top has a stiff collar, mimicking the one on her instructor uniform. Her outfit is also a lot more form-fitting than the outfits over Noah and Selphie, both of which contain some aspect of comfort and looseness for movement. However, Quistis' outfit more closely resembles office wear, with the pencil skirt, shirt collar, and long trousers underneath. But there is also an attempt to have some sort of freedom in fashion. Her top has a deep slit in the middle, and her shoulders are uncovered. But that hint of youthfulness is always tempered by more conservative elements. Her top is sleeveless, but she wears long, almost shoulder-length gloves. Her top is cropped at the waist, but she's wearing long trousers underneath an already long skirt. It's like Quistis is awkwardly trying to express her sense of self and her identity as a young person, but it doesn't come quite natural to her unless it's paired with that sense of formality. Having been treated as an adult for so long, she finds it hard to see herself exclusively as a young woman. Quistis is trying to straddle two worlds, the teen and the adult world, and she's comfortable in neither. Her outfit is therefore an awkward mix of the two. It's neither comfortable being fully casual or fully formal. The colour of Quistis' outfit is also interesting. It's a slightly muted orange, bright enough to be noticeable as her signature colour, but lacking the full warmth or energy that orange is often used to indicate. Orange in media, particularly in film, is often used to indicate new beginnings or nostalgic looking back at the past, which suits Quistis' journey throughout the game. Quistis is in this strange period of her life, where she's ending her teenagehood at 19 and becoming an adult, but also ending her adult life as an instructor and returning back to teenager. She's reflecting both on her past, her present, and her future, and trying to find out who she really is after her career as an instructor. According to Tetsuya Nomura, Zell was designed to mimic a shonen manga protagonist. As the demographic of most shonen mangas is teenage boys, most of these protagonists are energetic, wearing strong, bright colours, and you can really see that in Zell. He's very similarly dressed to other Nomura characters like Sora or Tidus, who are cheerful and energetic, bold, but also very friendly and outgoing, and with a good nature. They all wear much brighter colours, have lighter hair, and all incorporate some sense of shortness and sportiness in their clothing. Zell's outfit is full of bold colours, strong reds matching against his spiky blonde hair, dark blue trousers, and strong royal blue decals. Everything about his outfit is as loud and outgoing as he is. His facial tattoo was allegedly inspired by a clip that Nomura saw on MTV of somebody with an all-over body tattoo, which he thought was really cool. It's exceptionally similar, however, to Mike Tyson's famous facial tattoo, which fits because Zell's weapon of choice is his fists. A lot of Zell's design incorporates a very 90s teen boy idea of cool. The flame decals on his bomber jacket give off a sort of Hot Wheels vibe, that sense of coolness and trendiness, but very much geared towards a younger demographic. Everything in this outfit screams juvenile. His bomber jacket is cropped with puffed sleeves. His shorts are cropped above the knee. He's not wearing combat boots like a lot of the other party members. He's wearing sneakers. Or runners, if you're from Ireland. Much more on trend for a young boy, but also more appropriate for martial arts. He's somebody who dresses primarily for movement and activity, expecting to be exercising an awful lot, but also with a more boyish sense of style as one of the youngest party members. In particular, his high-waisted blue shorts make him look very boyish, possibly because they look slightly too big for him, which was on trend for the 90s. Wearing short pants has traditionally, throughout many cultures, indicated somebody is still in childhood, not yet a mature adult. Zell, after all, is only 17, He's the most hot-headed and immature of the lot, and he's also quite gullible, things that get both himself and his team into trouble and make him an easy target for bullying by Cypher. While the other boys have all matured, wearing long trousers and long shirts, the traditional indicator that a boy had become a man, Zell is still in shorts, still in childhood. This might sound strange, but Irvine's outfit reminds me of Cypher. In my previous video, I mentioned that Cypher's outfit looks the most like an actual costume because it's part of this persona that Cypher is putting on. It's a similar situation for Irvine. His Wild West inspired outfit is meant to imitate the heroes from an old western, the brave, suave ladies' man. But despite the fact that Irvine is touted as this amazing gunslinger, when we look at the rest of his outfit, we get the sense that perhaps there's maybe something else going on here as well. Irvine's outward cowboy aesthetic, the muted brown colours, the chaps, the cowboy hat, gun and black boots, are very obvious and exaggerated, almost like a performance that Irvine projects outward, making it look more like a cosplay than a real outfit that he would choose to wear. Irvine is neither as confident nor as suave as he lets on. Underneath that Wild West exterior, he wears a purple waistcoat, a dreamcatcher necklace with red inlets, and loosely tied shaggy hair, the hallmarks of a more sensitive, free-spirited style. Despite his bravado, Irvine breaks down at the prospect of shooting Sorceress Edea, because only he knows that she's his foster mother. He keeps the secret of their childhood from the other orphanage children until they're ready to hear it, not wanting to burden them with such a heavy truth. And despite his flirtatious nature, there's only one girl that he has ever really loved, and he has loved her since they were 5 years old. Did I mention that purple and yellow are the exact opposites on the colour wheel? One final thing about Irvine, just because I think it's kind of funny. When Nomura originally designed Irvine, he looked a lot like Sid from Final Fantasy VII, because Nomura had designed him with his big pair of goggles. Nomura also worried that he designed Irvine to be too attractive, and looking too much like Sid, and being so attractive that he might overshadow Squall. Nomura decided that he had to nerf him in the only way he knew how, putting a giant cowboy hat on him and making him really f***ing weird. And that's it for part 1. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear more about the costume design of other Final Fantasy VIII characters, like Rinoa, Laguna, Selphie and Eleni, or Alone, I don't care how you pronounce it, come back next week. And yes, I do actually mean next week, for part 2. In the meantime, if you haven't subscribed already, you could always do that now. You know, help pass the time. See you guys next week for part 2. Bye!